He's in the gravel. No! Rain is coming down. Huge, huge, huge moment through the chase. 300 kilometres an hour, surfs out the other side, almost rolls the Castrol forward, gathers it up, drops a bunch of spots. The race has gone off.
Right into the wall, big time. That was a huge impact.
It's diabolical up there.
Big lock-up for Craig Lowndes. That will put Stephen Johnson in the race lead. And when Neil and Lowndes goes past, there will be contact.
Stephen runs wide, he couldn't pull it up.
And in 2007, Craig Lowndes and Jamie Whincup, they have done the double. What a year so far. Just to think we've got 12 races left of the season. Bahrain, Tasmania, Phillip Island, all still ahead of us. But coming up, race 1 of round 11 here at Indy. Get in the spirit of surface paradise, because it is about to head our way, and the championship looks like this. It's been a big, big turnaround since the start of the Enduros, where Jamie Whincup and Craig Lowndes together leapfrogged Rick Kelly and Garth Tander. Todd Kelly in 5th. So effectively, they're all still in the picture, but you've got to think that this one, just like last year, is going to go all the way down to the final round. The driver's getting ready for a parade around this circuit, and there is young Jack Perkins, will make his V8 Supercar debut right here. Todd Kelly, the man who went from pole to overall victory in 2006. We'll take a break. The V8s are coming up right after this. Garth Tander, after that post-qualifying drama, now has officially been given pole position for the V8 Supercar Challenge. Last time he started here on pole was 2001. He went on to win the round that year, but from 2002 it has been a championship points round, and Garth has yet to claim the overall victory. The winners, Jason Bargwanna, Russell Ingall, Greg Murphy, Craig Lowndes and Todd Kelly over the course of the last 5 years. So as our cars get ready to grid up, it's time to hand over the stage to a 22-year-old Gold Coaster for the national anthem, Nicky Bowling.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for sure. Our home is good by sea, our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let's every stage advance Australia fair in joyful strains, and let us sing advance Australia fair.
Nicky Bowling will also have the national anthem duties tomorrow. And here comes the RAAF's F111. Out of the Amberley base, the dump and burn. Not only pit lane, the entire town has just rattled. Spectacular sight. Part of the big air show here that always takes place at the Lexmark Indy 300. And the boys will be back again tomorrow. Let's take a look at this circuit in detail, Neil Crompton. 4.47 kilometres, broken up into 12 turns.
And a couple of key points to focus on: those chicanes at turns 1 and 2. Lots of slow 60 to 70 kilometre an hour, 90 degree second gear corners. But the one that we love to focus on is this one. Turn 7, the S's. The complex here is fantastic to watch these cars. They leap over the curbs. It's a third gear corner. They're very quick on the approach. About 230 to 240 k's, they wipe a lot of speed off to crawl through here. But as they do it, they leap and jump across the curbs. It always produces spectacular motor racing. And if you get it wrong, it is very, very easy to end up in the outside wall on the exit, right next to the point where our camera is sitting on the wall.
There's Tander. Fresh brakes on car 16. Told to take it easy. Rick Kelly alongside the Jim Beam racer of Will Davison. It will be a 31-car grid for the V8 Supercar Challenge here. And Garth Tander starting from pole position. James Courtney, the Gelbren Motorsport Ford, alongside him. The second row of the grid, we find Jamie Whincup, the championship leader, and Russell Ingall, a two-time overall winner on the streets of surface. Craig Lowndes from position 6. Next to him was Stephen Richards. Here's Stephen Johnson and Greg Murphy from Tasman Motorsport. He finds himself inside the top 10, and a good performance from the super cheap auto racing car of Paul Dumbrell. Our defending champion at this circuit, Todd Kelly, was one spot further up on the grid.
Rick Kelly there yesterday, really trapped with a balance problem with the car after the delay in the first practice session. On the older tyres, the car had one particular condition. When they put new tyres on it, it behaved entirely differently. Feels the car's going to be okay for the race, but he is buried down the order at the moment. Look to Rick to play a different strategy card in this race.
Congratulations to Dean Canto as well, who was midfield there. We saw his car number 34 celebrated the birth of his child Dylan just the other day, and he's a very proud dad. Gary Rogers Motorsport crew have had an interesting year. They've been knocked around, but boy, they've been impressive, and they keep on fighting back. John Bow, car number 111, position 25. Shane Price had his hands full in practice. Alan Gurr from 27th. Owen Kelly returns to the V8 Supercar Championship, driving the team Sierra May Wines entry. There is Mark Winterbottom. Can you believe it? From pole position down to 29th, and the team Sierra May Wines entry of Paul Morris, who did not fire a shot in qualifying because of an engine drama, will start from the rear of the grid.
Similar time of day to the point yesterday where qualifying was run, so the teams will have some indication of the temperature and wind and track conditions, although there's been a lot more Champ Car and other support race running, so there'll be more rubber on the racetrack, and that'll change its performance.
Neil, as you mentioned earlier, Mark Winterbottom will start from the rear of the field. The only man happy about Mark Winterbottom's misfortune yesterday was Todd Kelly, who shares the number of pole positions this year with Winterbottom. Winterbottom would have gone ahead if he had have had pole for today. So they are level. Just bumped into Tim Edwards, the team boss at Ford Performance Racing. He said, take a good look at Frosty's car, because we just know it's not going to come back that straight.
.24 degrees, track temperature 37 degrees, outlook sunny and fine. Shadows starting to come across most parts of the circuit with all the tall apartment blocks around us. I reckon you're right, Mark Beretta. I reckon from way back in 29th, Mark Winterbottom will not hold back.
Super Cheap Auto Racing's Paul Dumbrell. Matthew, you mentioned he did well in 10th. They've actually changed the engine in that car with an oil pump problem during qualifying. The interesting thing is they've changed the engine and used the spare engine because of the tight turnaround with Bahrain. It means that if McConville or Dumbrell have any engine-related failure, that will put them out for the weekend.
I'll tell you what, FBR and Mark Winterbottom certainly have every reason to be down in the dumps after going from first to last in the field. But I tell you what, their heads are high and there is hope in their hearts, because historically they've gone through the data and had a look. The people have gone from down in the low 20s up into the top 5 using a very special strategy. Stay out as long as you possibly can around here, and if the safety car falls your way, you can jump a mega amount of the field if your car is quick. And we certainly know that Frosty's car is quick.
Bit of news also that Paul Morris will start from pit lane in car number 67. Matthew detailed before engine trouble yesterday for him preventing him from running in qualifying. There he is, right down the end of the pit lane exit, beyond the Champ Car pit, and he'll wait for the field to go by and then he'll get the signal to go. Compulsory pit stop for this one. The window is between laps 5 and 19. This race should run for around about 1 hour, 120 kilometres around this racetrack. The trick here is to try and survive the opening lap or two, get through the first couple of chicanes without strife. Over the years we've seen lots of congestion, lots of damage, and the real pressure on the teams for this weekend is to survive, put your car back in your transporter straight and clean, and minimum amount of prep required then to get the cars to Bahrain, because 2 individual flights going, one from Queensland, one from Avalon and Victoria into the 747 freighters, where they'll do the air freight load across to the Middle East, to Bahrain. Is that a ball on the racetrack, an inflatable ball or a balloon to the right? That'll probably need to be grabbed, and no doubt the officials are onto that at the moment. No burnouts from turn 12, the final corner. This is what trapped Craig Lowndes last year, and drivers being reminded to make sure they behave on the way to the line.
Pentax Flycam will be bringing our V8s from turn 12 down the main straight. Their pit entry is further back, and of course once they exit their part of pit lane, which is just ahead of us there underneath that bridge, they then have to join the Champ Car pit lane, not put it above 105 kilometres an hour.
Interestingly, Matthew, with the diff ratio that's in the cars this weekend, first gear is good for 104 kilometres an hour. So that was the reason why that speed limit was set. You can use second gear down there and just drive against the brake and try and regulate your own speed. Most drivers last year preferred to run it on the rev limiter in first gear, and that way they didn't have to think about it.
Let the engine do it for you. 40 k's in pit lane and then straight off into the Champ Car pits. It can be a very noisy weekend, the Indy weekend.
That F111 got me yesterday.
Got you again today.
Got about 100,000 others too, I think.
So the V8 Supercar Challenge. Garth Tander on pole position. James Courtney second. Jamie Whincup starting from third. Toll HSV car of Rick Kelly 11th on the grid. That's his view. That's his teammates' view. Good crowds. They love the V8s on the streets of Surfers Paradise. And who will get the power down first? Pretty even at the start, but Whincup didn't get away well. Russell Ingall is hovering. He's trying to thread the needle, but Tander and Courtney close him out, and Courtney will shoot it through turn 1.
Good start, James Courtney. Several people having to straight line the chicane there. Courtney round the outside of Tander at 1. Russell Ingall made a ripper of a start, but nowhere to go. 3, 4, 5 cars I count that have gone straight through chicanes.
Down to turn 3. Single file. Oh, a bit of a lock-up in midfield. It may have been Mark Winterbottom. No, it was one of the Team BOC cars. There's Winterbottom going through. Remember, he started 29th. We'll be tracking his progress. We know he's got a fast car.
Tander will be a little bit dirty with himself that James was able to go around the outside with relative ease then. Always difficult to know here. It's a very hard corner to sight, and off the standing start with cold tyres, how brave do you need to be? You do not need to go straight ahead down there, and he just eased off a little, and James pounced around the outside.
Not a bad start either by Craig Lowndes. He's gone up to 5th position, starting from 6th. Here comes Tander, looking on the inside, looking on the outside.
Onboard camera gives you a very real indication of exactly what the drivers deal with here, going through the light and shade. Turn 12, the final corner. Long left-hander second gear. They short shift to third pretty quickly. We've got to be very, very accurate around here, and it's made doubly difficult by the long shadows that creep up at this time of the day.
Standing lap 157.582 for Courtney. take a look at an incident. Steve Owen there, taking a dive at Paul Dumbrell. No, Dumbrell.
I reckon Owen might have actually whacked the wall then, because he looked as though he was on a very bad angle. I don't know what the aftermath of that was, but I'm not sure that he would have cleanly got around that corner in number 55.
There's Davison, just on the outer edges of the top 10. Dean Canto is 12th, so there's a little bit of a gap between Davison, position 11, Canto, position 12.
Winterbottom's moved up to 25th. He's in behind Shane van Gisbergen at the moment.
Well, it's just worth noting this race is 20 kilometres longer than it was last year. It's gone from 22 laps to 27. A bit more work to do out in the concrete canyon.
Isn't that raises one of the questions that we talked about earlier in the weekend with the Touring Car Entrance Group in Australia. Controlled brake rotors on the car this year from Alcon. Made the point at Bathurst, it's technically a little different to the rotors that would have been on most cars here last year. And practice and qualifying, you tend not to do a lot of consecutive laps. Most people wouldn't have had the opportunity to do much more than probably 5-6 laps together on end. In a race like this, as the heat accumulates, it's those that have done their homework will be in good shape, and those that haven't may see an issue bob up here.
So the first time round it was 157. That time around 151. Order remains the same. Courtney, Tander, Ingle, Whincup, Lowndes.
Just easing away a little bit, these two at the moment. .4 of a second officially between Courtney and Tander that time through. As you said before, Russell Ingles had an affinity with this racetrack and tends to always do very well here, and he's in a nice spot at the moment, just far enough back from the lead to not be tripped up by them, so he can really choose his own race line, and with just enough margin over Jamie Whincup that he's not under too much pressure. Well positioned. This is turn 5-6. A lot of people make the mistake of sliding down the road camber here, whacking that wall. Here comes Murphy having a look here at Stephen Richards' old teammates side by side. This is the run to the fast S's, turn 7 that I spoke about before. Who yields? It's Richo.
Greg Murphy moves from 7 to 6 with that move.
Andrew Jones out of the race. The Team BOC car 12 has touched the wall. They've broken the Watts linkage.
Very easily done around this racetrack. Pretty easy to repair, but it's going to take too much time in a sprint race, and if you're outside the top 15, no points. Dean Canto has done the fastest split to the second sector, now eclipsed by Jason Bright, who's down in 19th. Remember, he said to me earlier in the day, we've got a fast car, we need to be able to use it. Oop, trouble here. Van Gisbergen and Bow, Winterbottom mixed in there as well, and it was Bow that ended up turning around and recovering at turn 3. Looking from the other angle now, and I think John Bow's going to be pretty hot under the collar about that one. Dean Canto's done the fastest lap of the race now, 151.6. He's 12th. Shocking accident for him at Mount Panorama 2 weeks back.
He's pretty knocked up too. He actually got knocked out a bit.
He's a new dad. Baby Dylan has come along, so congratulations to the Cantos. Pressure on here now. James Courtney's lost a little of the edge that he had over Tander the last lap, and the group are bunching up ever so slightly.
Tander ducks out for some clean air. Turns 5 and 6. Super close to the wall.
Race control. Sorry, Matthew. Race controller looking at Paul Dumbrell for some fluid leaking from that car. He's down in 29th, so he lost a huge amount of ground somewhere along the line based on his qualifying performance, which was right up there in 10th.
Saw that off that he had him, and then he went off at the runoff right there at turn 8. Mark Winterbottom, by the way, has just done the fastest sector time, the first sector.
We've also had confirmation through that Steve Owen didn't clout the wall down there at 8. He did get through unscathed. It looked a bit scary, but he did get away with it.
Winterbottom's making good times. He's in 21st. He's just on a 122 to the second sector.
Nice work, mate. Just keep that gap close.
James Courtney making front anti-roll bar adjustments because of the pressure that's on him at the moment from Garth Tander.
So the Gel-Wet Motorsport Falcon of Courtney leads the race from Tander. Ingle, a 4-time race winner on the streets of Surface, is waiting to pounce. Amazing what a bit of revenge does to a driver's state of mind, especially when he knows that he's got a good car, because Mark Winterbottom has found 4 places from the start. He's now in 21st. 150.7 is the fastest lap of the race, is second faster than anybody else out there.
And Mark Winterbottom to be shown the bad sportsmanship flag for consistently hitting the tyre bundle, so have to be careful. And a black flag for car 021, which is Shane Van Gisbergen, for his role in the incident down there with John Bow, so he'll do a tour of the pit lane for his trouble. Pressure on here at the front. Courtney barely hanging on at the moment from Garth Tander. He's been fiddling with the car, just trying to find a way of getting it to balance out a little better, but look how close these lead cars are.
They take a staggered approach down the end of the main straight before they go single file again through turns 1.
Oh, a little moment here for James up at turn 8 and side by side with Tander and contact. Garth's got nowhere to go on the outside down there. I think it started when James had a little moment there. He just locked the brake. There's a manhole cover and a bit of paint on the road on the approach to turn 8. Incidentally, the compulsory pit stop window is open. We'll see who blinks here and what strategies people play. Ingle looking for cooler air in the front of that car. He's got a bit of paper, I noticed, down in the radiator intake, and we'll see Todd Kelly come in this lap in car number 22. He's position 9 at the moment, a little buried in the group, so they're going to pluck him out and try and play a different strategy. Todd actually showing very fast sector splits in that car. So Matthew Crawford engineering that car, looking to try and provide Todd with some fresh air to get a benefit. Great view there of the turn 7 chicane complex.
Craig Lowndes is also going to come in this lap.
Tanner's very strong in the braking area to 8 and around the face of that corner, isn't he? Gets right onto the back of Courtney there. Ooh, James right up to, and I think rubbing the wall ever so gently on the exit of turn 10. Oh, into him. Tander makes a little bit of contact there at 12.
Now let's have a look and see who peels off. As expected, Ingle. Oh, Craig Lowndes.
You can do that on the pit lane approach. It's handy when there's another car in the way. So Craig makes a good gain there. Back to the sprint race format. Fewer people across the line. Rear tyres only. Oh, and just inserted.
Work, mate. Nice work. Righto. Get your head down. It'll all shuffle and happen now, so.
Now they're up to 105 Ks against the limiting. Listen to it.
Well, guys, some of the teams not happy with the pace that James Courtney is setting out in front, but Ford Performance Racing certainly are. It's giving Mark Winterbottom every chance to work his way back up through the field. As you mentioned earlier, his fastest lap time at the moment, a second quicker than anyone else. He is working his way back up to the pointy end.
You notice Russell Ingle there just losing a slot in that round of pit stops too. They try so hard and practice every day to get those right, but just a jammed wheel nut on the back left side for just a second and a half is what cost him that spot.
Left mirror missing off James Courtney's car. He's been run up against the wall. And car number 2, Mark Scape's been warned by race control. He'll get the bad sportsmanship flag for consistently hitting the curbs. And Tander again makes a little bit of contact at turn 8. He's very strong up there.
Whincup has a look as well.
Hasn't quite got the speed in a couple of places at the moment, Courtney, and he's just causing a little bit of a queue, but he's very strong in other places, and that's what's holding him in reasonable shape. Now he peels off. And the word to Garth Tander, press on, make speed in clean air.
And the tap up.
So look to Tander to try and make advantage here. Yes, they're making a change to Courtney's car. See, the speed brace was used to make an adjustment on the rear roll centre and a slowish departure for Courtney.
Well, the Tasman car snuck in front of James Courtney there. We wait to see what Garth Tander can do now.
He's dropped the spot. I think Murphy's done a good job there, and so James had to balk due to the traffic, and they had to do that adjustment as well.
That is the race line to rejoin on.
So that's hurt James Courtney. And it'll be fascinating to see what Tander can do now that he's been released. Leads the motor race.
It was a 3-second gap last time around between Garth Tander and Jamie Whincup.
And Tander's going to come in this lap.
Guys, SBR, James getting away, stopped and propped. They let Merv through. They couldn't believe it. They said, where did this guy come from, as they let him in? 2 turns. The adjustment, Neil up on the rear roll centre.
Yeah, so looking for more turn in the rear of the car. Watch for Tander to arrive now. Peel off to the left-hand side. There he goes.
Pentax fly cam will track Garth Tander in. And meanwhile, Jamie Whincup has been given the instructions to push, because he is the first car on the road. Exactly the same as what they told Tander. See on the race tracker where Courtney is.
It's going to be really close. Traffic's probably going to come out next to Leon, so just merge it well.
Let's see where the Vodafone car is. Tander exiting the Champ Car pit lane, and he'll go straight ahead through the traffic island, which is the procedure here. There's the release point. Away he goes. Should be okay, but it's close. Hangs on.
Craig Lowndes has just done a 150.4849.
And it's a new lap record. And remember that Tander's got cold rear tyres, and that's the message to Craig Lowndes, who's on the gas at the moment. These guys are down in 16th. The leader of the race is Jamie Whincup. Stephen Richards running with him. There's not much of a margin there either.
Such a long pit lane too, isn't it? It must just feel like murder sitting in there, knowing the guy's coming blaring down the main straight. Whincup is making the most of his time out there. Really tossing the 88 car around. Richards is behind him. Stephen Johnson is third. Will Davison fourth. Jason Richards fifth. Now Whincup will come on in.
Lever in the up position, rear tyres only. Lever in the up.